Hey guys, what is up? Welcome to Digital DevoNight. We are so happy you've joined us. Hey, over the next few moments, the Bible does say, remember, that where 2 or 3 are gathered together in His name, there He will be in the midst of them. So I know we're gathered together digitally, but He's still going to be in the midst of us. So over the next few moments, join us in worship, join us in song, interact in the comments. Let's have a good time tonight. Love y'all.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Digital DevoNight. Hope you guys have enjoyed the worship portion so far. Without any further ado, let's get into the Word.
Hey, Infinite Youth, what's up? It's Pastor B. Pastor Justin asked me to come and speak to you about two of the fruits of the Spirit. I understand you're studying those right now. And he actually assigned me the spiritual fruits of goodness and faithfulness. So let's start off by talking about goodness. What is goodness? Goodness is the quality or state of being good. Okay, well, what does good mean then? Good means a favorable character or tendency. Now, the word good has lost a lot of its meaning in our culture. Many times we've used it as an interchangeable word with like average or okay or just so-so. Like someone might come to you and say, hey, did you check out that new pizza place? And your reaction might be, yeah, it was good. You know, that is a completely different good than what this is talking about. It does not mean average. It does not mean so-so. So let's dig into it. So actually in the Greek, this word, one of the interesting things about it is it only appears in the biblical text. This version of this word that's been translated as goodness doesn't appear in secular writings at all. In the Greek, it's agathosune. And it means more uprightness of heart in life. It doesn't mean just being good, but it means doing good. Holiness put into practice. It's more a position of the heart, being upright, than it is a personality trait. A great example in Scripture is King Hezekiah. So in 2 Chronicles, Hezekiah takes the throne in Judah, where the temple of God was in total disrepair. Priests weren't organized. Idols were set up all across the land. He doesn't just sit there and say, you know, these things aren't good. No, he actually takes action. So he brings all the people from all over Israel to celebrate the Passover. And then in 2 Chronicles 31:1, it says that when the festival ended, the Israelites who attended went to all the towns of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh, and they smashed all the sacred pillars, cut down the Asherah poles, and removed the pagan shrines and altars. After this, the Israelites returned to their own towns and homes. That is biblical goodness. Now, normally when I say the word goodness, you're not thinking of, hey, let's go from town to town and smash down stuff and break stuff. But that's exactly what they did. But it was the spiritual fruit of goodness that caused them to do so. The spiritual fruit of goodness is really more verb than it is noun. So let's jump and talk about faithfulness. What is faithfulness? Faithfulness is steadfast in affection or allegiance. In the Greek, it's actually a word pistis. The term, it refers to a guarantee or a warranty, a character trait that combines dependability and trust on our confidence in God and His eternal faithfulness. It's doing what you say you're going to do, being reliable, a person that can be counted on. That's faithfulness. Now, one of my favorite examples in Scripture is Joseph. Now, if you know anything about the life of Joseph, his life was full of drastic highs and lows. But there's one thing about Joseph's life that remains steadfast: his faith. When his father is giving him special gifts and he's feeling privileged, what do we see? Faithfulness. When his brothers are terrible and mean to him and they sell him into slavery, faithfulness. When promoted under Potiphar, faithfulness. When falsely accused and thrown into prison, faithfulness. When promoted as head of the prison, still faithfulness. And when made second in command only to Pharaoh, faithfulness. What a picture of Joseph's life. Man, we can look to that and we can see faithfulness, faithfulness, faithfulness. See, sometimes faithfulness to God can set us on a course where things actually get worse, not better. I mean, look at Joseph. Look at all what happened to him. But it's then that knowing the promises of God are crucial. Trust in God's faithfulness is what sustains us, no matter the current circumstances of our life. This is one thing, as I was beginning to think, like, what do I want to talk about when I think of goodness and faithfulness? And this is what I felt prompted by the Spirit. In Matthew 25, Jesus tells a parable about three servants. When the master returns, those servants that did well, he actually says the following: "Well done, my good and faithful servant." What? My good and faithful servant. He goes on to say, "You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." And I thought, man, how many adjectives could the master have said to them about their work? But what does he choose? Goodness and faithfulness. They go together in many ways. And there are many things he could have chosen to say. But he chose to point out the two things, goodness and faithfulness. And I hope the master can say the same of you. Now, in closing, I want to wrap this up and just give you a little life moment to think about here. I want you to remember this, that it takes time to see fruit sometimes. For example, like strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries, they're among some fruits that actually bear fruit in their very first year after planting. Whereas, take for instance like a cherry tree or a pawpaw tree, they can actually take up to 7 years before they bear any fruit at all. So here's what I want you to remember. It would be really ignorant of us to be angry at a cherry or a pawpaw tree for not producing fruit after only being planted a couple years. We need to be ready to give grace and mercy as new believers learn to allow the work of the Spirit to produce fruit in their lives. Here's another truth. There will also be some spiritual fruit that may come very easily for us, and other fruits that remain a struggle for many years for us. John 15:4-5. This is actually Jesus speaking. He says, "Remain joined to me, just as I also remain joined to you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain joined to the vine. In the same way, you can't bear fruit unless you remain joined to me. I am the vine. You are the branches. If you remain joined to me and I to you, you will bear a lot of fruit. You can't do anything without me." And then down in verse 8, it says, "When you bear a lot of fruit, it brings glory to my Father. It shows that you are my disciples." So just as one closing statement, this is what I want you to remember. We're talking about fruit of the Spirit. Fruit of the Spirit, not fruit of your labor. These spiritual fruits come about not because we're working hard at doing them, but because we remain in the vine. It's fruit of the Spirit, not fruit of your labor. Stay connected to the vine and the fruit will come. Thank you for the privilege of getting to speak into your lives. I love you, miss you, look forward to being with you again. God bless.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us for our digital DevoNight. Hey, if this is your first time, if you would take a second, get your phone out and text in IYouth to 97,000. Again, that is IYouth, the number 97000. It's going to give you a prompt back. If you take a quick moment just to fill that out so we can follow up with you, connect with you after all this is done. And then if you would give us a follow on Instagram, it is Infinite, YTH, Infinite Youth on IG, all right? And we'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much for joining us.